Hello, my name is Sirrano Keith Baldeo, and welcome to the Texas Justice Review. Oh boy, we got a show for you today. I promised you that I was going to show you the evidence that Kathy Stewart lied on her application. I want to come back to talk about the court case, what's going on in the court right now, because apparently the case is not dismissed like the judge. I don't know why she did this, but she told everybody the case, made everybody believe that the case was dismissed. This is her here, right here, in a courtroom. And I could have sworn in the transcripts, it says, I asked her, so my case is dismissed. And she said, to jurisdiction and time, it's not in the transcript. I'm a publisher for almost 2 decades. I know when I hear something and it's important. So when she said that, everybody went home, thought the case was dismissed. Then she made a motion. Oh no, sorry, case is not dismissed. The case is still ongoing. I have jurisdiction to hear this case 5 days after I filed my notice to appeal her decision. But we'll get into all of that when I bring in the what's going on in the courtroom. But right now, here's how Kathy Stewart lied on her application. And here is what nobody wants to do. So Judge Purdy over there did not want to open up the application. I'm going to give you, I can't tell you everything, because if I tell you everything, they're going to know what's happening. I got to impeach her testimony. There's a part in the courtroom where you ask her questions and she has to answer it truthfully. And what's going to happen is the prosecutor's office is going to be, you have to ask the question. So even if you don't get her civilly prosecuted, the prosecutor can move in and do their own investigation and find out, well, you said in the civil case that you didn't, but we investigated and found out that you did, or you did, or you didn't. So that's the kind of what you want to do. You want to impeach that testimony. So I can't tell you everything that I found out that she lied about. And she's not a certified person to be in the Dallas election, District 10. She's not qualified to have been in a position. I'm actually the only candidate that is qualified in a position that has a legitimate application. So here is number one. So I snapshot, about January 1st, I went in and I looked at her up. She said she's a lawyer, so you always want to research your opponent if you're a good candidate. I researched her, what kind of law she practices, you know? So I looked and I saw at the top, it says inactive. And actually I was talking to somebody and I said, you know, check it out for me. And she said it's inactive. And I went and I said, oh, it is inactive. So she's not really a lawyer in January, first week of January. And so I snapshot that screen just to make sure that nothing has changed. So January 27th is when I think she filled out her application and she turned it in. And that's a copy of her application. And when this application comes to you, it should be a very dangerous application because you're managing $5 billion. So at the top here is asking you for your occupation. Now, this is all that you have to fill out. She's a lawyer. This half page gets you on the ballot with the 29 votes that you collected. So it says occupation, do not leave blank. There's a reason for that. You can't lie. You have to say what your occupation is. Otherwise, it says optional. It has to be a must. And she says attorney. But just remember, when you screen snapped her name at the State Bar Association on first week of January, it said that she's inactive. There's also a law that says from the State Bar itself, you cannot say that you cannot identify yourself as a practicing attorney if you say that you are, I'm going to bring out her complaint. This is the complaint against her. It's not a little complaint. I mean, I went through details. So here's what the State Bar says. What an attorney cannot do when granted inactive status. And it specifically says present. You cannot present yourself in writing or in person that the member holds an active license to practice law. So you can't say you're an attorney. You can't advertise that you're still an attorney. So she broke that law when she broke the State Bar law, and it goes a little more details into stuff like that. And then she broke the law signing this. There's something else. She was in LinkedIn. I don't know if I have it here. So on LinkedIn, what she said was she stopped being a lawyer in 2024, somewhere middle there. And that's probably when she gave up her license. I think she was still licensed in 23. But so her LinkedIn profile said that. Her LinkedIn profile also said at the time that she signed her application, this application to be on the ballot, that she was a council person. So you see, I'm gonna highlight this and put it up for you when I'm gonna review it and show you. Our LinkedIn profile said that, and then okay, I want to bring this page up. So LinkedIn profile said, currently I'm a council person. Back then I was an attorney. And then when she goes to sign her application, she says, I'm an attorney. See what happened there? And then she's inactive. So that voids your application right there. You can't lie about your occupation. I think she did it because she wanted to. She's in a very high society. Her and her husband has mansion properties all over the place. They got 4 of them. The property in question, where she allegedly lives on Shady Drive, Shady being so convenient, right? Shady Valley Drive, is $1.2 million. That's the asset of that property. I think it was just an asset property they bought, and bought it just because she wanted to run for election. And so let's get to that. So that's one of the places where she lied. Should void this right away when they see the state bar and the law. This is actually a state law that you cannot misidentify yourself as an attorney when you're inactive, because the Superior Court governs the state bar. Even though the state bar is independent and can be sued independently, the Superior Court is the one who governs the state bar and gives them laws and rules and pass all these laws for them. And they have to follow that law. So this is not policies. This is law. So she broke the law there, and she broke the law here. So then on the second part of her application, she said that she was in the district. I want you to pay very close attention to this. It says you must say, now it says in the state, how long you've been in the state? 42 years. Yeah, so that's correct. But over here it says length of continuous, and the word continuous is important because it's a law. Length of continuous residency of the date this application was sworn. Residency means where you're living continuously. What is the length of that? So Shady Valley Drive, what is the length of that? And it says, she says 40 years and 1 month. Okay? So she's supposed to be living in Shady Valley Lane 40 years. But that's not the law. The law is asking you the length of continuous, and continuous is the key word, continuous residency of the date this application was sworn. Now, these are uncharted waters. No one has ever filed a lawsuit like this before. So it's going to test the law. So she says 40 years. But in her own sworn declaration to the court, when I sued her, she said that she moved in there in July of 2021. I currently reside at my Shady Valley resident, and I lived there since 2021. Okay, if you live there in 2021 and the law asks you how long are you living there continuously at that address, you're supposed to say, okay, 2021. Let me just do the math on that. 2021, 2022, 2023. So that would be 1 year, 2 years. So it's supposed to be a year and about 9 months. I'm just guessing that year and 10 months. I'm not good at the math right now. So this place is supposed to be 1 year and 2 months. And in addition to this little block that nobody ever challenged, here's what it says. In the territory, you got to be in the territory. In the district, District 10, and the precinct as well. So if Shady Valley Lane is in precinct 1092, she has to be living in 1092 for 40 years and 1 month, but she doesn't. So in this application, she said she's been about 4 different addresses. She's testifying against herself, because when this comes up in court, the judge or the jury, because I think I might be pushing for a jury trial, the jury has to look at what the law says, what the application says, as applied to the law. The application says a length of continuous residency of the date of this application. How long have you been living at that residence? Supposed to be, what, 1 year, 9 months. She put 41 years. And you're also in the precinct. So you have to go territory, district, precinct. So you can't live at 3 other precincts or somewhere else and then say, well, I added all of that up and I came up to 40 years. Wrong. That's not what this asks you for. So I think in this case, what she didn't want was people to look at her application and says, well, hey, she just moved in here 1 year, 9 months. Now, there's no evidence that she lives in Shady Valley because I went there 2 weeks before the election, 2 weeks after the election when she first ran. This time, her car was never there, and I recorded this on a daytime stamp. This was an investment property. Kathy's living somewhere else. She's not living in District 10 where this is. And so why isn't she? I dare any one of you to go to this address, and I'll give it to you because it's public record. It is... and it lives on a hill. That's her public address. It's supposed to be public. It's in the court documents now. You can go to court documents and see it. It's up on a drive. Her car is not there. Her husband's car is not there. And this has been going on for a year, more than a year and something. Who's living there? In addition to all of that, Kathy Stewart started voting, and I don't think I have that because I'm keeping it on some other documents to, I kind of expose her. So here's the law. This is the law. It says subsection, it's actually Title IX for election purposes. So the law is, it's a election law, section 141031. Google it, you'll find it. And it goes all the way down and it asks you on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, G, H, I, J. And this is the law. It says the candidate's length of continuous residency in the state and in the territory from which the office is sought is elected as of the date the candidate swore to the application, and she swore to that application on January 27th that she lives there. But the Texas Election Commission, who creates these documents, prescribed by the Secretary of State, and it says section 141031, chapter 143 and 144, Texas Election Code 2001. And on this it says what they're asking you to do on a swear under oath. They want the territory, they want the district, and they want your precinct that you're in right now when you swear to this. That's a sworn signature. That's the stamp. I swear to this, that I live in this right here territory, precinct, in this house on Shady Valley Lane for 40 years. And that's incorrect. So she started voting in 2023 when she decided to run for office. And there are some other things on this form that I can't tell you because it's criminal in nature. Lying on a document, on a government document, is criminal. And so there's an investigation that's going to be happening on her too. So even if you voters don't vote her out, even if I don't get her out and the judge refuses, and I'm going to talk about these judges helping her, hiding the law, delaying the case. And here's how the judges, I don't want to get into this. I'm going to just stay with her. This is the law that she broke. 1, 2, lied to the state about the state about communication, lied about where she's living for 41 years. Kathy ain't living in Shady Valley for 41 years. She's got mansion properties in different counties. I'm not going to mention them. By the way, this judge says, hey, she's got her stuff on public thing. Anybody can go and look at it. This is what she said. Anybody can see this. How many people do go online and look for this document? How many? You tell me one person that goes online and look for this document that she's saying that they do. Voters trust. Voters trust. They trust that you're going to tell the truth. And really, it takes somebody like me. And I tell you something about the news medias in Dallas. There are a bunch of hypocrites. Their silence is the biggest corruption. They're all silent on this. They're all silent on a lot of things that's going on in Dallas City Hall. And I'm looking at things that's being passed for developers and other people that shouldn't be getting passed, millions and millions of dollars. And they go and they see it. They read the resolutions, they read the agenda, and they never report it. Just like they're not reporting this because they kind of include with politicians. They don't want to look bad if they report that they're doing something wrong. I get it, right? So Kathy Stewart started voting in 2023, but yet she's been living here for 41 years. Actually, that was just this year, 42 years. Another thing on her application is her past application has her for 42 years in Texas, in the state of Texas, in the state of 42 years in the state of Texas. So where was she living before, right? That's interesting. I didn't really realize that. I thought she was in Austin or something. How long did you live in Texas? 42 years. That I got to look into that, because she said she moved from Austin in 1984. And where were you before that? So now I got something to look at. And so anyway, her two applications does not match up, because one of the applications says 2 years ago, she lived here for 42 years. And then currently, 2 years later, she lived here 43 years old, 42, 43. So if you ran the first time in 2023, and then you ran 2 years later, when she signed this, she said it's only 1 year later. That doesn't make sense. So it doesn't make sense because she's trying to lie. That's why it doesn't make sense. If you ran in 2023 and you lived here 40 years, right? And then you ran 2 years later and you signed this document, it's not supposed to be 41, because 40, 41, 42, but she's got 41 here. So you know that when you fill out a document and you put the wrong information on it, no matter what it is, if it's the wrong information, it voids the document. I just was reading a case about a warrant that they arrested this woman on fraud, because I was doing the Kathy's case, looking for a case point of authority, and they stated that because, she had a wrong information of date of birth, they voided the warrant and she skipped off to Mexico. So that's part of the evidence. This here is another part of the evidence, and I'm going to show you something. This flyer went out to everybody. This is an employee of the Public Improvement District, right? This is a city vehicle. This, if you get a little close up here, let me see if I can bring this up, is the badge of a code enforcement employee that she is using on her flyer. Now, this is under investigation, so I can't really, so I can bring it up. See right there? That's a code enforcement employee. That's a city vehicle in the back there, right? That's the 311 vehicle. And I ran this through ChatGPT and it told me that to verify it. Lake Highlands Public Improvement District. I believe I read that they were getting funding from the government for staffing. I don't know who's funding, but nonetheless, this is supposed to be for the community, not to be used. And this is her taking a selfie with all of them. And she's using the public vehicle and she's using the badge of the government, right? So, you know, they get away with so much fraud and so much abuse of their office. It's a shame. So that's the evidence in Kathy Stewart. I'm not going to, this is about 18 minutes already. I'm just going to leave it as that. I really wanted it to be but 10 and I'm still talking. So she lied about her occupation. She lied about living in the district to represent District 10. 2 years ago, I knew this. And the city didn't want to give me the information for it. Okay? So she's supposed to say 1 year and 9 months. Then she's supposed to say 2 years and 9 months. Why doesn't she do that? Because it makes people question her. Wait a second. Why are you just putting 1 year and 2 months? Where did you move from? Where did you move from, Kathy, that you're going to put 1 year and 2 months? And they would not have voted for her. Because people are very sketchy. And that's why there's very low voter turnout. And I'll tell you something. If I was not running in this race, I wouldn't vote myself. I wouldn't care. I just go about my business. But I decided to stand and fight. And that's why, you know, you have an opportunity. If you're a disgruntled voter, don't get mad. Don't get mad and stay home. And this is as a publisher, I say it to some people all the time. If you are mad that the bad people are getting elected, go find the good people and vote for them. I have been fighting public corruption for almost 2 decades, and that's how I was able to catch Kathy Stewart. She's not going anywhere. I got her. And I'm going to set an example of everybody who wants to run for office in the city of Dallas. After this is over, we're coming after you too. We need to clean this up. We really need to make voters have confidence again in government. And that's going to start with me, Sirrano Keith Baldeo. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.
Sirrano Keith Baldeo. No need for fear, no need for doubt. When the fight's too fierce, he'll sort it out. With a heart of fire and a steady glow. Call Sirrano Keith Baldeo. He'll fight for